What's going on, y'all? This is Josh from Team SUPERSHOE, and welcome back to another episode of the Shoe Show. We are with the member of the month, Mr. Ethan Faircloth. Ethan, how are you, man?
Good morning. How you doing? I'm doing pretty good.
Doing good, man. Appreciate you coming on board and chatting with us a little bit. I always like to get people on and just kind of make it, get to know people because I feel like Team SUPERSHOE is a small community, compared to a lot of other bigger, more popular race drivers. And I like to keep it that way, So the bigger it gets, the more I want to keep talking to people and make it feel like family. So appreciate you, man. So I've seen you on Team SUPERSHOE on Facebook a lot. And that's why I want to bring you on and just get to know you, man. So where are you from? What do you do?
So originally from Core Peak, North Carolina. Currently active duty Navy. Been in 10 and a half years and kind of been all over the place, anywhere from Washington State, Mississippi, Kings Bay, Georgia, Newport News, Virginia, and now here in Charleston, South Carolina.
Cool. Well, appreciate your service, man. If it wasn't for people like you, we wouldn't have such awesome freedoms that we have here in this country. So appreciate you, man.
Thank you. It means a lot.
Yeah. So you've been a big fan for a long time. Wanted to know how you became a racing fan and how you discovered Corey LaJoie.
So at least the beginning of how I became a racing fan. So my dad and granddad were diehard Dale Earnhardt Sr. fans. And just going to visit my grandparents, he used to tape all the races. So we'd go back, watch them on VHS. And that's pretty much how I became a Richard Petty fan because he retired in 92. So obviously I didn't get to see him race live. And according to my dad and granddad, I was about 4 years old. And they said, hey, why don't you just walk up to the TV and pick out a car to pull for? And sure enough, I go up and point at Richard's number 43. And my grandparents also live pretty close to Level Cross, where his original race shop and museum is. So growing up there, getting to walk around the museum, I've been fortunate enough to meet Richard Petty multiple times throughout my life. And kind of just always pull for whoever was driving in the 43. But as far as a driver to pull for it and watch racing live, that was Dale Jarrett. And then once he retired, it was always just whoever was in 40, Eric Almirola, Bobby Labonte, Bubba Wallace, and now Eric Jones.
Cool.
But as far as how it became a fan, it really started last when the USA Channel did that docu-series and different race shops and interviewed the drivers and just seeing how Corey was at his team, very involved, very humble, not having a lot of resources, being very fan friendly. He was just, a driver to pull for it. Somebody you can appreciate those humble beginnings. And yeah, I love listening to his podcast. So that's a great way for him to reach his fans. And that's kind of how all that started.
Cool. Well, we're glad to have you on board. And I have a similar story. I grew up, I don't know, probably early 90s, right before Richard retired. I became a Richard Petty fan, but that was only because I was, 6 or 8, and I had to pick a driver, so I just picked whoever the best was. So, I picked him, and when he retired, I continually followed the 43 from Bobby Hamilton all the way up to John Andretti, and I think that was around 2001 when he got fired. Like halfway through the season, they just let him go, and I was pretty attached to John. And that really kind of set me off. So then I was like, you know what? I'm not following the 43. I just became spiteful. So and I found Jimmy Johnson only because he seemed like a decent guy. He had a couple of wins, and I liked Lowe's. That ended up being my first job. So it kind of connected. I was like, I'll follow this guy. Dad had no idea that I was jumping on the bandwagon. So and so when he retired, that's when I had to find Corey, I had to find somebody. And at that time, now I'm, an adult, and I'm like, you know what, this time I want to find somebody that I can relate to. So, and it was much harder because nowadays these drivers, a lot of them are just kind of, spoiled or rich kid. It's not somebody I could sit down and have a beer with, So
Right.
found Corey, and as much as it's kind of a tough thing to follow, starting with the 32 car and then, finding a team that's struggling. It was an adjustment to get used to the idea of being happy for finishing in the top 20. But I'm glad because now I feel so much more invested, and Corey's opened all of our eyes to realize how how much, small teams really do struggle. So when they do have these successes, it's a cool feeling, So pretty cool. So good, man. Well, if you normally go to any racetracks, is there some close by that you go to every year?
Well, since I got stationed down here in Charleston, we've been able to go to the past three, past three Darlington races. I took my mom to the Coke 600 in Charlotte last year. Absolutely loved it. We're going back again this year because everything they had going on outside the track as far as vendors or events, I thought it was very well put together. And I mean, the 600 is in my opinion, one of the best races in the schedule. So pretty much Darlington and Charlotte every
Gotcha.
year.
Nice. Yeah, I hope to go to Charlotte this year for the Roval because I want to go out there for the kickball tournament. So that's what I'm saving for. Hopefully I can make it. And definitely Darlington's on my list for the next few years. Want to get there. Martinsville and Bristol. It's kind of my I want to eventually collect pins from every racetrack and say that I've been to every racetrack. So, but I'll start with my favorites,
Yeah, Martinsville is a good track. I went there back in '06 and Dale Jarrett was still racing then, so it was pretty cool getting to see him race in person.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been to Martinsville. I'd love to make it back sometime.
Yeah, cool, man. Well, you are a big 43 fan, and something I've noticed about you on Facebook is that you have some really cool 43 tattoos. They're crisp, they're colorful, they're done well. And there's a lot of tattoos in the NASCAR realm that you go to a race and it's usually not a nice tattoo array. So wanted to bring you on and we'll do a ranking, 1 to 10, 10 being the best, and it's gonna be like a slideshow. I'm gonna share my screen and then just thought it'd be a funny thing to do. So
Yeah,
gonna
do it.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right, looks like he got that after the Daytona 500 win. That's pretty decent. I'd say 7.
Yeah, I'd give that 7.
That's pretty killer right there. I'd say 9.
Yeah, definitely, because when you consider that was Earnhardt Sr.'s signature with that little bubble goggle and the half-faced helmet.
This is a 2.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a 10 right there. I love the reflection.
Yeah, I love those reflections.
That's all right. 6. I
Not
like the
bad.
smoke. Yeah. I like the smoke. Sharknado right there.
I give that 1 or a 2.
Yeah, about the same. Well, it's in memory of. It's cartoony, but maybe they wanted it to be that way. So not bad. 6.
Not bad execution.
That's faded a bit, but I do like the design. Say about 6.
That's pretty solid.
Yeah, and you gotta love the Tasmanian Devil. I give that one an 8. Now this isn't NASCAR related, but I thought when I was searching, I was like, man, that is a killer tattoo. That's a 10 right there.
Yeah, get the outline of the landscape in the background.
And you gotta love the old tramp stamp, Dale Jr. Tramp stamp.
It would be a junior fan.
Now that would be a 1. That's Brendan Gaughan. I was surprised to see somebody get a tattoo of him. I bet that's like a teammate or something.
Could be. I'd have done a better job on the portrait.
Boyer, I was surprised to see a Clint Boyer tattoo. So good for that fan. That's a basic tattoo. I don't know, 2. I like the design. Yeah, I thought that was a pretty crisp, clear tattoo right there. Now it's decent. I really like the American flag. That had to have hurt right there on the inside of the arm.
Yeah, that can be pretty tender area. Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, outline of every track I'm assuming he's been to.
There's another. I wonder if I doubled that one. That might be the same guy, different picture. As a Taz. Gotta love a 6-pack. That's 10 right there.
Definitely.
They said that this was called Snail Earnhardt. Thought that was awesome.
I'll give that a 10 just for the creativity.
I love it. Yeah. I like the crackling at the bottom.
Mhm. Looks like Cal Petty Melly Yellow car at the front.
Yeah. This is probably my favorite of it all. There's a collection. There's so much cool things happening there.
A lot of good throwback pieces.
You know, this guy really loved DEI, apparently.
Yeah,
Good detail, though. I mean, the faces look spot on.
yeah, portraits look good. Very good.
Yeah.
At least as far as getting multiple errors of the sport in there.
Then there's your tattoo, man. I thought that was solid.
Yeah, I wonder who got that one.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's killer, man. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Richard Petty. So let me exit this real quick. Now we're back to normal. So wanted to ask you about the Richard Petty story. You said that he got to see your tattoo.
Yeah, his reaction was classic reaction. The very first time he saw it, I was at the Petty Museum, just happened to be up visit my grandparents. I'm like, okay, I'll swing by the museum, and Richard's there almost every day of the week, so you got a pretty good chance of seeing him. And just stand there talking with Miss Bonnie. She runs the museum, and sure enough, Richard comes walking up, and as he's getting closer, his exact words were, "Damn, that's a good-looking man on your arm." And I just busted out laughing when he said that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I don't know how Corey would react if he saw a tattoo of his face on my arm. I think maybe I'll test it out this year and go to Charlotte and surprise him and see what he does.
That would be a interesting reaction conversation just because of his personality.
Yeah, I think he would be booting me from doing all this admin stuff. But we'll see. We'll see, Corey. You'll find out in October. But all right, Ethan. Well, man, thank you so much for taking a little bit of time out of your day to come talk with me, man. It was cool to get to know you and just have a little bit of fun.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate you having me on.
All right, brother. Take care.
You too.